Planning to travel but worried about unnecessary phone charges? Stay tuned to learn how to effortlessly suspend your AT&T service and save money on your trips. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a puzzle that literally plagues every single traveler, avoiding those massive, headache-inducing roaming charges. We're going to dive deep into AT&T's service suspension policies so you can actually keep some cash in your wallet while you're out exploring the world. It's such a common dilemma, right? You're setting off on a long-term trip, you desperately want to avoid roaming fees, and you're looking for real cost savings. But the rules around pausing your cell service can be incredibly confusing. Well, stick with us, because we're going to break down exactly what works and, honestly, what totally doesn't work when it comes to managing your AT&T account from abroad. Okay, let's just dive right into our game plan. We're going to start by understanding your suspension options, then look at the strict eligibility criteria. After that, I'll give you a quick step-by-step guide, answer some common FAQs, and then share my absolute favorite part, some alternative travel tips and insider hacks. Finally, we'll wrap it all up with a summary. All right, Section 1. Let's get a handle on understanding your actual suspension options. So, depending on the exact type of account you hold, your options are going to look vastly different. If you have a business wireless account, it's actually pretty great. You can do a reduced rate suspension for just $10 a month for up to 180 days. Residential services, like your Uverse TV or home internet, can be put on a vacation hold for just $7 a month. But take a look at the standard consumer wireless option. The monthly rate is full price. Yeah, it doesn't pause your billing at all. Let's be really clear about this hard truth. For standard wireless consumers, a voluntary suspension does absolutely nothing to save you money. It just keeps charging your regular subscription rate. It's basically just a security measure designed to protect a lost or stolen phone from racking up unauthorized roaming charges. Contrast that with the business and residential holds, which genuinely drop the monthly bill to accommodate long-term travel. It's a huge distinction that you absolutely need to know before you head to the airport. Moving right along to Section 2, eligibility criteria. Let's talk about who actually qualifies for these reduced rate holds. Fun fact, prior to early 2023, standard consumers could actually get a $10 vacation hold, but AT&T quietly sunsetted that policy. Today, you have to meet some pretty strict criteria. Business holds are strictly for corporate and small business accounts. Residential holds, you need at least 30 days of active account history, and you're capped at 2 holds a year. For standard wireless consumers, the only way you're seeing that $10 rate is through a verified emergency hold, which means long-term hospitalization or incarceration. So unless you're planning a very specific, unfortunate type of getaway, standard consumers are mostly out of luck. And finally, there are military deployments. This is incredibly important. Under the Service Members Civil Relief Act, or SCRA, our armed forces have specific protections. If you have official military deployment orders for 90 days or more outside the coverage area, you can suspend your lines for $0 a month for up to 39 months. No early termination penalties, nothing. Federal government employees deployed internationally have a very similar setup, paying just 1 single cent per month. Okay, Section 3. Here is your step-by-step guide on how to actually initiate a suspension. Let's say the worst happens. Your phone gets swiped at a cafe in Europe. You need to act fast, and the digital process is thankfully very swift. First, log into the My AT&T app or the desktop portal. Next, navigate to your devices and select the specific line that was lost. Tap Manage Device and Features, and then hit Suspend Wireless Service. You'll choose a reason, like lost or stolen, and bam, the block registers on the network in near real time. Do keep in mind, this only suspends that one specific phone line, not your iPad or Apple Watch if they're also on the account. Let's jump into Section 4, FAQs and common issues. Because when people hit that suspend button, panic sometimes sets in. We see this question all the time. If I suspend my service, will I lose my phone number? Or better yet, does this get me out of paying my equipment installments? The answer is no and no. Suspending a line simply protects your phone number and stops a thief from racking up thousands in international data on your SIM card. Your monthly device installments, your insurance fees, and your standard plan charges, those will absolutely continue to hit your bill. Oh, and a quick insider tip. If you do suspend your line, callers usually get routed straight to your voicemail, so make sure you've recorded a custom away greeting before you initiate the hold. What if you find your phone under a couch cushion or you just come home early? Good news, you can easily lift the suspension through the app or by calling customer service. But here is a critical detail. If you try to unblock your device while you're physically outside the immediate AT&T US network, like say you're still sitting in Spain, it can take up to 24 hours for that unblocking command to propagate across the international partner networks. So just plan accordingly and be patient. Welcome to Section 5. These are alternative travel tips. And honestly, this is where things get really fun. Since standard consumers can't just casually pause their bill for $10 a month anymore, what's the game plan? Well, if you're taking a short trip, under 30 days, your most convenient route is easily the International Day Pass. It's $10 a day, and it's thankfully capped at 10 charges per billing cycle, which lets you use your normal plan seamlessly. But if you're doing long-term travel, like 3 to 12 months, you need a totally different strategy. Your two best options are porting your number to Google Voice or using a hybrid dual SIM setup. Let's look at the Google Voice strategy first, because it's incredibly cost-effective for digital nomads and expats. You basically take your primary AT&T phone number and you port it over to Google Voice. When you do this, your AT&T postpaid line automatically terminates. Boof, your AT&T bill drops to zero. But the magic is that your US phone number stays alive in the cloud. You can still receive all your bank verification texts and make calls globally entirely over Wi-Fi or whatever local data connection you happen to have abroad. Now, if you want the ultimate hybrid setup, use a dual SIM phone. Here's how it works. You keep your primary AT&T line active on an eSIM, which is just a digital SIM card, but you downgrade it to the absolute cheapest monthly plan they have. You strictly turn off data roaming for AT&T, but you make sure Wi-Fi calling is enabled. Then, when you land in a new country, you just buy a super cheap local physical SIM card for your data. Your smartphone is actually smart enough to route your AT&T calls and texts through the cellular data of that local SIM. You keep your US number, you avoid roaming fees completely, and you get cheap local data. It is an absolute game changer. All right, Section 6. Let's bring it all together with a quick conclusion and summary. Here are your major takeaways for today. First, business, military, and residential accounts have dedicated money-saving hold options. Second, if you're a standard consumer, wireless suspensions do not save you money. They literally charge full price and are purely a security measure against theft. Third, if you do lose your phone, you can execute a suspension super fast using the My AT&T app. And finally, if you're a long-term traveler, you really have to get creative. Leverage things like Google Voice porting or dual SIM setups to completely bypass those high costs. By the way, I would absolutely love to hear how you guys handle your own connectivity abroad, so definitely share your travel hacks and experiences down in the comments. And before we officially sign off, a quick disclaimer. Remember to consult AT&T's official website or customer service for the most up-to-date information, as policies and procedures are subject to change. As we saw with the consumer vacation hold disappearing, telecom rules are always shifting. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Knowing that standard lines bill at full price even when they're dormant is the convenience of keeping your native AT&T line worth that monthly premium, or is it finally time to hack your travel connectivity for your next big adventure? Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and keep learning.